the only writer who writes as a Who fan. That's the background to his writing. He writes as a fan, and this is one of the amazing things about Pete Townshend. He is a mirror of his own audience.
To be one of the guys from the audience on the stage doing it, and I think again that really is down to the kind of songs Pete used to write. He had a way of communicating with those guys and making them feel that it was them up there doing it.
The Who were not a band for a girl with an engagement ring on her finger. I mean, they were not a band to be screamed at. This is the thing about a band like The Who. They were very, very much a guy's band.
All the guys that were standing in the front rows, and obviously were fellas, but we always told ourselves that all the females were at the back, where we couldn't see.
They were very tough guys, they very much knew what they wanted to do. They all had like very individual opinions, they all had their absolute sort of taste in music, but they were all very open, to ideas.
Kit Lambert and Chris Stanley were very valuable to us at the time. The group was kind of, people don't realise this, was really 6 members. Lambert and Stamp behind the scenes were incredibly valuable to us, especially to Pete. Pete's relationship with Kit was one they really did feed off each other. Kit would spark up ideas in Pete, and Kit was the only one who could really communicate to Pete what was good and what was bad, and Pete would accept it. He wouldn't accept anything of the
But what he used to do is he used to accentuate the positive. He just used to find the good stuff. And I'd say, well, what about this? And he'd say, let's come to that later. He was just brilliant.
Kit and Pete would discuss in detail and in long into the night the structure and what you did and did not put into a sort of pop song, But what Pete had as a voice was a mod kid.
We were into the idea that the audience was the people to serve. So I suppose I lost that audience. I lost touch with the Who's mod audience, and I decided that what I actually had to do is I had to write something for me. And where I was at the time was I was in a very strange place. I had a couple of acid trips and hated it. Everybody else in the world was wearing funny clothes and blowing their heads off and wearing flares with flowers in their hair. And I felt very out of step with it, but I was interested in the mysticism. I was interested in the spiritual side of it. So I thought maybe what I could try to do is marry the pop single with this idea of this mystical journey. And that's when I started to work on Tommy.
Tommy, can you hear me? Can you feel me near you? Tommy, can you see me? Can I help to cheer you? Oh, Tommy, Tommy.
I wasn't aware of the minefield that I was getting into when I playfully called this piece that I was working on a rock opera. But Kit Lambert was just fantastic. He kind of took me the other way, though. He used to say things like, I'd say, are you sure it's okay to call this a rock opera? And he'd say, well, yeah, of course it is. And I'd say, well, the story's a bit dodgy at the moment. He'd go, yeah, but all opera's got stupid story. And I realised later, actually, that some of his ambitions, of course, were to usurp the musical establishment.
Most of the drive for Tommy was from Kit Lambert, because his father was a composer, Constant Lambert. And Kit was always pushing Pete, saying, but Kit loved pop music and he loved the 3-minute single, but he was determined to make the music of a rock band more important than the three. He was always saying this music's much more important than people realise. It's not just a throwaway thing. He knew back then that it was going to still survive today.
Tommy finally found out that there's a lot of money coming in and thought, well, I guess we've made it. We always had an idea that Tommy was going to mean something. You know, we liked the album and we knew it was going to be kind of important, but the audiences just started getting bigger and bigger. Every time we did a tour, we had to play bigger places.
Tommy really kind of, I suppose, set a target for the Who, and it created an enormous interest, and because it was a rock opera and it had a new